Okay, so it's official. All four postseason series went the way I wanted them to. Not the weather pattern though, but that's different. Nah, I'm just going to be in this video recapping as to why I wanted all four of the series to go the way they ended up going. Did I predict all four of these series to go this way? No. I couldn't exactly see, for example, the Houston Astros losing to the Detroit Tigers. The Astros had made 7 consecutive ALCS appearances, and in the last 5 years, the worst they've done is losing in the ALCS in Game 7. So it's like the Chiefs in a way. You really can't bet against them. Maybe with the Astros dynasty coming to an end, we'll see the Chiefs dynasty finally start to come to an end. I feel like the Astros and the Tigers was a series of two teams that really had their struggles throughout the year. The Astros started off 7-19. That's actually the worst start of any postseason team in MLB history through 25 games. And, even through 50 games, the Astros weren't doing so well. Even through 81 games, the Astros still found themselves to be below 500, and it's difficult. And we can take a look at that MLB article later. I think I actually put that in a video, but then nobody watched it, so I took it down. But it's tough in the MLB to start the first half under 500 and make the playoffs. It's one of the toughest things to do in Major League Baseball. And the Tigers, they had the worst first 81 games of any postseason team in Major League Baseball history. Because while the Astros and another team in this video start off 40-41, Tigers start off 37-44. It seemed like their 5-0 start would be wasted. They fell at 55-63 in August. Their odds to make the playoffs were 1-in-500, and they became the first team since the 1973 New York Mets to be down, this badly in August and make the playoffs. But the 1973 Mets, they might have came to a Game 7 of the World Series. Their regular season record, a putrid 82-79. 2024 Tigers, meanwhile, they were 86-76, so they had to make a much more significant comeback than the 1973 Mets, who, despite being last in the NL East, were never really out of it. They both had to only battle from around 10 games back, and to both of them's credit, they actually were able to successfully do that. But heading into the series, Astros were the team to beat, and even though they were down 10 games of the AL West in the middle of June, by the middle of July, they had already tied it back up. It only took them 24 games to do that. And part of this is because the Mariners had a historic collapse, and yes, part of the reason why the Tigers got in was because the Twins had a historic collapse. But still, it's very impressive. And the Tigers hadn't been to the playoffs since 2014. And yet, the Tigers not only made it to the playoffs, but they took down the Astros. Not exactly what I saw happening, but obviously the Astros are the evil empire that even cheated to win a World Series back in 2017. So even though I wasn't, exactly expecting it, I will gladly take that pleasant surprise of the Tigers winning. Next up is the Kansas City Royals beating the Baltimore Orioles. Now, before August 20th, I would have been upset about this. The Royals are a team that beat the Mets in the 2015 World Series, whereas the Mets never had any postseason clashes with the Orioles. In addition, I liked the Baltimore Orioles for a while. I was really cheering for them to take the AL East over the Yankees, even though that didn't happen, because I really wanted the Yankees to have a less successful season than the Mets. So I was really going in there. And, I know that they played each other, but I was still going to be fine cheering for the Orioles. Even the Francisco Alvarez walk-off on the 19th, I was like, I still like the team, even though I wanted the Mets to win. Then August 20th happened. The Mets fall behind 7-1 off of horrible, putrid pitching by Jose Quintana. However, the Mets, to their credit, make it a 7-5 ball game. They actually mount a rally. However, they're unable to further capitalize on it. And then the Orioles score 2 in the top of the ninth to make it 9-5. However, they don't do this, ordinarily. A routine fly ball is dropped, and the Mets just could not make the right decision defensively and allow 2 runners to score, and the play ultimately converted into a 2-run triple. Although it's an error, so you don't get any credit for that, because that batter should have been out. It was a disaster for the Mets. And obviously at that point, you're going to lose the game because it's not even a safe situation. But when they posted New York Mets on their Twitter page, we were all enraged by it. Every single Mets fan was. Jesse Winker walking them off on the 21st, was just not enough, in my opinion. Interesting fact, the 19th that I mentioned was actually the last time that we really had any kind of significant rainfall in the Long Island area. New York City had a little bit since in their rainfall, and the 19th wasn't as significant, but since then, all we've had were mild showers, hence why the grass is drying out, and there's no rain forecast until mid-October. There's only a chance we get anything on the 7th, and after that is the 15th and 16th is our next chance, but realistically, after a historically dry September on Long Island, New York City was dry, but at least not historically dry, there's a chance that we could really see, a historically dry October as well, and 2024 precipitation could shockingly fall below average. And finally, looking at the grass, just want to point out that if, it's a drought to head into the winter, well, we're not going to see good grass again until April. We're just not. Even if we have a wet winter. I don't know when the pattern's going to change and there's going to be more rainfall in our area. I'm just hoping that it's sometime soon. Anyway, back to our video. So that's that for the Orioles. And, again, I wasn't happy that the Yankees won the division, but I wanted the Orioles to win the division. But once I got to the postseason, I was like, Royals haven't been here in 9 years. We could cheer for them to do something fun. Plus, it's always fun to see Bobby Witt Jr. play. He is better than Aaron Judge. Then, I feel like you have the other 2 series, which I think should be obvious. I mean, I am a Mets fan, and being a Mets fan, I don't like the Atlanta Braves, so I obviously wanted them to lose. Now, heading into the LDS, we have the Yankees taking on the Royals. Again, don't like the Yankees, don't like the crosstown rivals, so I will be cheering for the Royals to win that one. Mets, Philly should be obvious, and Padres, Dodgers, I am going to cheer for the Padres. Padres are a more lethal team in the playoffs than the Dodgers, but number one, the Mets only went 2-4 against the Dodgers, and they went 5-2 against the Padres. And number two, the Dodgers are a lot scarier of a team now that they have Shohei Ohtani. Who's never been in the playoffs before. I'm actually a little bit nervous to see what happens. And I'd almost rather play the Padres, even though they were the hottest team in baseball in the second half, than take on the Dodgers with a little super team. Because I feel like if the Dodgers win, they're going to be winning the World Series. Guardians, Tigers is the one that conflicts me. Because on the one hand, Tigers haven't made the playoffs since 2014. You want them to have a deep run. On the other hand, though, the Guardians haven't won the World Series since 1948. And the same way the entire baseball world cheered on the Cubs to do so in 2016, the entire baseball world will likely be doing so for the Guardians to win the World Series if it comes down to that point to end their 76-year drought. However, I'm a Mets fan. However, I also recognize that the chances of the Mets making the World Series, they're slim. Because no matter what happens, I mean, look at the Mets. I mean, first the Mets gotta defeat the Phillies in the NLDS. That's gonna be a challenge. Then you're in the NLCS, and it was either gonna be the Padres or the Dodgers. If it's the Dodgers, forget it. And if it's the Padres, I still don't exactly like the Mets' chances of beating the Padres, especially after they just destroyed the Braves. So I don't know.